Gray Square. What's happening? It's been a long, long time since we recorded one of these.
Bro, it's been a while.
It's been pre-coronavirus.
6 months. 6 months, at least.
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last one we did.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm honored.
Yeah,
I know.
We've recycled a few from the past.
If you've been tuning in, you've been hearing old stuff from us. Recycled. But it's still good.
Right. It's always classic.
Today we've got me and Jay and the one and only Kristin from Energetek. What's happening?
Hey guys, how are you? Did you like that voice? I've been working on it for like 5 months now.
That's the phone sales
It's my
voice.
intelligent
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, who's this? Hold on. Hello. What you selling?
I'll pay my credit card off or whatever this is.
But
yeah.
Okay.
So if you've seen some or listened to some older episodes, we hung out with Kristin and her partner Eva. How long has it been a year since we did that last one? Was it not that long? It feels like it's been.
It's been pretty close to a year.
Yeah.
I would say like 10 months,
10 months
or so.
Yeah. And it was hands down my favorite episode to record. We had such a good time.
Sure.
Nothing against the others, but it was so much fun. We drank a little bit, so that was
Alcohol to any equation equals sauce.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of sauce.
That's true. Well, today's no exception to the rule. We've got two of the biggest bottles of white wine that I've ever seen in my entire life here.
And some of the coolest glasses I've seen.
Yeah.
And some cool bougie glasses that we have from the office. And Jay has aggressively poured a very full glass for all of us.
There's only one way to do it, dude.
So
It's either go big or, as we know, go home.
and stay sober.
That's even worse than going home.
Yeah, exactly. I can't go home unless I'm not sober. What are you talking about?
That's a good point. I drive better with a one eye.
Yeah, right.
That's not funny.
You're kidding.
I know. I'm going to get canceled. So as usual, we don't have a strict agenda for this hangout. What I'm hoping we can do is just, catch up, talk shop. We obviously all, run our businesses and have been through craziness in the past 6 months.
Yeah.
It's been almost 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And, small businesses like us get smacked around a good bit with stuff like this.
Yeah.
And, we're still alive and kicking somehow, all of us. I don't know how, but we made it through. A lot of people didn't. So let's talk about it. Let's start with the fun stuff. Give me your early quarantine experience. Like, how did you handle quarantine out of the gate, personally and then business-wise?
So phase one.
Phase one
of like
Phase one's
batshit crazy world.
I think phase one's like March to
It feels like
June.
Mid.
Yeah.
That's the very, very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
March to June.
we had some of the best TV,
Sure.
and then we had Tiger King.
Right.
Right, almost
Sure.
right off.
Yeah, you're right. Tiger King led up to the coronavirus. So yeah, you're right. And definitely
It
transition.
was like right there when it all happened. You're right. I might have jumped on train like a little bit a week later, but whatever. All right. So I think pre-COVID me and post-COVID me are two totally different people.
Yeah.
Well, how did you react from like March until April? Did the house damn near explode? Was everyone panicking?
So it actually started 2 days before the state was shut down, lockdown.
Yeah.
I remember calling Eva, my business partner, and being like, Eva, I think this
is real.
might get serious.
Yeah, right.
So, we should come up with a plan and figure out, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. At least we were thinking 2 weeks.
Sure.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be too.
Yeah.
So, what we did is we drew up a scheme. It actually allowed us to go back and dive into the old lead list that we had, reach back out to people and, reconnect with them and things like that. So that was actually really helpful.
Rekindling the relationship.
Right. And just, moving people forward or, not just taking them off, putting them in the red completely.
Right.
So that's really what we did. Personally, it was really hard. I have a toddler, 2-year-old, and my boyfriend was working from home as well. So just one big happy family.
Yeah, right. I almost kicked this child out of the window with my own foot.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment from the early months was when my 2-year-old got into my makeup bag and took my liquid eyeliner and wrote on all of the walls upstairs. So fun.
So
outstanding.
This is ironic because the same thing happened to me.
Really?
If you go to my son's room right now, there are, well, he's 4, so he's a little bit, he knows better, but he knows better now since we're dating short.
Yeah.
No better.
But he got into, it's crayons. That's what it is, crayons.
Mm-hmm.
It's magic marker. It's a magic marker, and drew like 3 smiley faces that were supposed to be mommy, daddy, and him.
This is like a nice gesture.
I walk in and see him doing it. Right? We don't own this house. We're renting this house. We're working on the own house. We rent this. So I'm like, I don't put my hands on him, obviously, but that baritone.
Podcast, I didn't smack the hell out of him.
Yeah. If I say the podcast, I didn't kick him in the goddamn face. But it was one of those deep baritone, like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God, he shit himself.
Yeah.
He did it, like literally. I screamed like so loud that he pooped his pants.
Well, so magic, like Mr. Clean's magic eraser.
So no, it's not like whiteboard stuff. Like my fiance, she said we haven't done it yet, but there's like
it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. But word on the street, you can use alcohol to rub it on the actual magic marker, and it'll come off.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't research shit. I blame it on her because I told her not to buy those things yet. So
I had to throw all the markers out.
Okay.
I literally just trashed them. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
we're all topic. Excuse me.
Sounds tough.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Please continue.
No. That was it.
That's
personally, that was just phase 1.
Phase 1, work chaos and home chaos.
Right.
Fair
Actually, the work chaos was more structured. It was more of, oh shit, this is going to be more than 2 weeks type of. That is almost when the chaos started to begin. But
gotcha.
Well, for me, I managed to avoid children, so I don't have any of those problems.
Congrats on that.
Right, yeah.
It's a pretty baller situation.
Yeah.
Disposable income out of control.
Right.
It was discretionary.
And time.
Right. Discretionary.
Time's pretty baller. You can do whatever I want.
Right. Kind of wake up as do.
It's a very selfish, cool way to live. No, what's the stages of like depression or dealing with grief or something like that?
Sure.
The first one's like denial.
Denial.
Right. Is denial the first one?
Sad.
Yeah, it's always denial.
It's always denial. Yeah.
So the first 2 weeks for me were like anger and denial.
Right.
You know how like how people now that are like conspiracy theorists are like they're clearly crazy.
Yeah.
Right. But that was me for the first 2 weeks. I'm like, we have to stop talking about this. This isn't real. We have to stop like encouraging this hype.
Right.
I thought that by myself I could talk my people. Captain remembers
the world out of the pandemic.
I could just talk people out of it. I'm like, guys, there's like 9 people that got a cold. We have to stop.
Right.
And we have to run a business here. We have to.
Right.
That was me for just weeks. I was so angry.
Locked you in this room.
Oh God.
You're just pacing.
I was so
yourself,
angry.
pulling your hair out.
Right.
I was so angry and such denial, and everybody was saying like, this is worse than you're thinking. This is gonna get worse, and blah blah. I'm like, you guys are not entrepreneurs. You guys are being losers. This is unacceptable. And then eventually it kicked in. But that was the first bit for me. It was like,
and this is fear and sadness. That's the next stage. Shit.
Yeah, just like aggressive anger and denial, fueled by like the fear of what's going to happen to my livelihood if we allow this to happen. I also felt like I had control. I'm like, if I just don't buy in, our business will be fine. Because like, what does everyone else have to do with us? It's the dumbest thing ever.
Right.
You'll have dead employees.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing.
We'll just get more like.
Or you have clients that actually listen to it.
They can't listen to this.
I know. They know I'm kidding. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
On the same accord, you have actually clients that listen to the government recommendations and CDC warnings. So
I know. So that eventually got ruled out pretty quick. But like that was like the early or mid-March through early April was just like deny. And then eventually it kicked in like, all right. This went from like a 2-week thing to we don't know how long thing.
Right.
And personally, I just like skipped town as fast as possible. Like, I just got out of here. I was like, I lived in Boston, but I was in the middle of like a 2-week trip to Philly. And It got extended.
Okay.
Yeah, while I was
Did you get
here.
closed in here?
No, I left like as soon as possible.
Okay.
Back home, right?
Yeah.
Nashville.
I hightailed it out of here. But the cool thing about it was like my ticket, since like everybody stopped flying, I flew from Philly I stopped in Chicago for like a day, and then I went back to Nashville, and I booked my flights at like 10 o'clock at night for the very next day. And it was, one of the flights was $33.
I was going to say, how much was it?
$33, and then like $70. Wow. And I sat first class because there's no way on the plane. So for $33, I was in like the lay down seat.
You're right.
Like the full recline, which I've never sat in.
Like the shit that you take to like Thailand?
Yes.
Right.
Did they let you smoke on the plane? That's the question. Did you have a cigar? Were you allowed to finally smoke on the plane?
I should have.
I would absolutely have asked the question. Like, I have a cigar here. There's no one else. Like, is it really?
Here's what I felt bad. Here's where I know like this humbled me a little bit.
Planes all the time.
They did.
This was normal. There's ashtrays in some planes right now.
Yeah, they used to be able to like smoke in restaurants.
But it had nothing to do with the fire hazard.
Like your kid's hair would smell like cigarettes.
It would have been balling.
Not so
cigar.
Here's my like humbling experience that let me know I wasn't ready for like the good life that I hoped that one day I lived. So like I'm laying down. Right into like the lay down thing because this is only like an hour flight, but I'm like, I'm gonna lay flat just to do it.
Right.
I'm not even tired. I'm just laying there. And then somebody came up and like asked me like, "No, do you want a drink or anything?" I didn't even sit up to address the person. I was just like, "Yeah." And like in doing that, I felt bad because I felt like I was like
being like pretentious.
I was being pretentious. Like,
totally 1,000% were. You were making eye contact with this person.
it would take me like 30 seconds to lean up.
This poor person is like, I'm risking my life.
Yeah,
right. Flight attendant on this plane. It's like,
yeah, right. Exactly.
They weren't even.
Exactly.
They're like, we're not.
Exactly.
They're like, we're not serving drinks or doing anything. But they were like, can I get you like anything? I'm like, Jack and Coke, please. And I just like closed my eyes.
Bend my arm.
You know, I never asked you. Was the reason that you
So
hurried home?
I don't want to
having a panic attack.
Well, that's what I want to clarify on because I remember you going. Was it out of like fear of you thinking like you might not see your family again because like some real shit's going on, or
it wasn't that. I was just like,
let me just go home for a while.
I was beyond like stressed and anxious. I don't get anxious about anything, but I was like so stressed and like I was like I also don't know how long this is gonna last.
Yeah,
right.
I gotta hightail it out of here.
Sure.
I gotta get out. I didn't have any time to get down to Philly or Boston, so I just like skipped out, which is a much better situation because when we got to phase 2, we just like couldn't do anything at all.
Yeah, you're sitting around. Yeah,
I was kicking it.
Yeah, right.
I was kicking it.
The fam.
My mom whipping up food, drinking with my dad.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool. You get anxious, you go.
Yeah, it was a good setup. It was a good setup.
Well, let me see what happened to me. I already told you the first part of it.
Yeah.
My kid losing his mind and me binge watching. I mean, I've seen everything on television. I mean everything.
Everything the television has to offer, I've seen it.
For sure.
I watched Tiger King twice.
I've watched so many documentaries and old movies over and over again that like I feel the Netflix library is permanently implanted in my memory. Like, I've seen it all. Yeah, I've seen it all.
Do you guys have the app Cameo?
No.
Heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I have heard of it.
You gotta learn it. So you can pay a celebrity. You should like be
they'll like do a shout out.
They'll do a shout out for you. I got one for a friend of mine. I had Chris Hansen, from The Catch a Predator.
Yes.
So like I had him for like $40. Wish my friend Allie for like $40. He wished her a happy birthday or whatever, and like accused her of what he accused people of. And it was I'll play the video later. It was
I gotta see that.
I know it's $40. But anyways, for whatever price you get for Chris Hansen, every celebrity sets their own price. Floyd Mayweather's on there for like $1,000.
Right.
He'll say hi.
Oh, you did send me this app.
I
remember you said
Bravo celebrities are up there too.
Everybody's up there. But Carol Baskin is on there. You need Carol Baskin to say like, "Hey, happy birthday from Carol Baskin." Yeah, she'll say it.
Oh, you cool.
I wonder if you can get her to like
smack her
you in the grinder
repeatedly.
They're opening up her husband's case now.
That's how I love it.
I'm here for it. I was like married to like true crime. I love murder. I'm here for it.
And like hillbillies are so addicting to watch.
Have you ever seen
Florida Florida, man.
What's it called?
Florida? Are they Florida? No, they're in Oklahoma.
There was 3 different ones. There's one in Oklahoma. There's one in Myrtle Beach, because I was there for what I saw, like my friend went to it. There's one like in Myrtle Beach. I forget whose. You know, there was like Joe Exotic, Carol Baskin,
Right.
and then like Don.
Oh, that other guy.
With the goatee.
Oh my God.
The guy with the young wife.
Who is he?
Right?
Yeah.
That's what we're
like the
talking about, right?
suspiciously young.
Yeah,
Young
wives.
wife.
Yeah.
No, but
There were
then
multiple
there's
wives.
Doc Antle.
Oh, and they-
who has many wives.
That's what I was thinking of. Doc.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the third guy with the goatee.
He's passing all. Yeah. What's the name of that show? You were talking about murder mystery stuff, and I got into that too over the pandemic. It's like Ivy Channel stuff. Like it's what the hell is it called? It's one of the camera ones.
Now you see it or
See No Evil.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I was just watching
Yes,
last
I
night.
remember
Great
that.
minds. It's a show that was just about video cameras solving crimes for people or for the cops. Like they use like Walmart video footage to like catch someone like leaving or some bullshit. It's good. Anyway, I'm like addicted to it. So I
All
watch
right,
it.
so I'm going to tell you a crazy story that I learned. All right, so you know the group with like Lauryn Hill. What are they called?
Fugees.
Yes. The music producer. Now this is
Wyclef Jean.
This is no, they're like actual like producer.
Okay, I thought Wyclef produced their stuff.
No. If you look it up, I forget his name.
Okay.
Anyway, it's in a show called Evil Lives Here.
Okay.
Their music producer, unbeknownst to anybody, was like having incestual relationships with his like 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And the one daughter had 5 of his kids.
Wow. That's tough.
Didn't know.
Hold on, this is on
creepy stuff like
this is on a TV
I
show.
love it.
Yeah, it's called Evil Lives Here. And like they
I gotta see
go
this.
into like all the family members, wives, brothers of like these like prolific, like
Wait, hold on.
really messed up people.
So
It's really good.
okay, you got to send me that because I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah, it's really good.
but I thought
There's
something
new episodes
happens.
coming out every single week too.
Yeah, seriously, you wrote it down.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course I wrote it.
Okay, of course I wrote that down.
Evil Lives Here. Yeah,
set a
it's
reminder.
crazy.
So on my this has inspired so many people to like watch a lot more TV. So I set little task reminders for like everything in my life, like everything you think of, I have a reminder for it. And whenever somebody says you should watch blah blah blah, I always set a reminder and pick like when I think I can watch it. I have so many of those now that I'm like, I have probably 10 hours worth of TV, 10 to 20 hours worth of TV that I haven't watched from like 2 months ago.
No shit.
Yeah, as soon as if you say, if you've ever said to me, you should watch this show, I either watched it and got back to you on it,
All right.
or I'm committed. You're going to hear from me when
I
I
was
watch
gonna say
this.
that is like the most organizational.
You're gonna hear from me when I do this. I swear to God.
He's pretty organized.
In my life.
So yeah. So I'll tell you. So I have like, actually, I think I moved from the set to.
he moves from one folder to another folder.
No, it's a big
completed task.
He's like, no, actually, you know that I had like blocked this out for Gilmore Girls. I'm gonna move that to Sunday.
Yeah, he's a flow chart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously. So there's the Umbrella Academy. I watched that.
Yeah.
I gotta watch. Obviously, this one Evil Lives Here. And there's like 2, 3 others.
See, this is strange now because now I want to get back to this. Like, I thought something happens like incest that creates like birth defects. My understanding is right. It's like
She had all very
nature.
normal kids, and you get to
Really?
see them at the end.
Maybe I'm wrong. 'Cause I thought it was
You
maybe
know,
just
I'm not going to comment on other people's looks, but yes, she never commented that they were abnormal or anything like that.
because I was understanding that you have a high probability of having some sort of medical or
She
physical
was 12 years
defects.
old, by the way, when this all
Oh
started.
my God.
Yeah,
That's insane.
he was so messed up.
Man, 5 kids with a 12-year-old?
Over the court, he married her.
What?
In
Where's
front of
that?
his wife.
What? He had a wife?
People are
Yes, he had a
crazy.
wife. He had kids.
He married her.
He had an entire family with his wife, and then decided that he wanted to marry his daughter.
This is
People are
crazy.
It's like, it makes me feel some type of way that I'm like sweating right now.
I'm sweating right now.
I'm like anxious, like I don't want to talk about it. It's-
Just watch it. I told you everything.
This is just
She is so well spoken though, and she is. No, it's not okay. But like, she has come out on the other side and helps.
Yeah.
She started a nonprofit, and so she's using her abuse to bring light to other people's abuse and help them. So
I didn't know it was. I didn't know she thought it was. Oh, I was like, okay, now this is better. The story's turning.
Right.
I was understanding
it ended
that.
on a very nice note.
This is just they're thinking it's normal to act this way.
No.
That's what I thought you were kind of pitching.
She did in the beginning. Just watch it.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I asked many questions.
Go through the entire script, but
anyway, what are we talking about?
I have another topic here.
Sure.
I'm just kind of writing stuff down as I think of it. So we get through phase 1, and I think phase 2. Well, we go into phase 2 of quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
New briefing. My phase 2 was personally was just trying to occupy that many hours in a day with like something to do. Because I knew for me, if I went from like a workaholic to just the opposite of that, I don't know if I recovered from something like that. I started like running daily, which I hate.
Yeah.
I hate running. I despise it. I was running 3 miles a day.
That's impressive.
Wow.
And I hate it. There's people who run marathons, right? I didn't think it was special, right?
Right.
But for
3 miles a
I
day.
just took up running one day and you're like, I'm gonna run today.
it was either that
So,
or like hop off a building.
Yeah,
That was my option, right? I didn't want to do that.
Right.
No, so I ran a little bit, and I think from a business standpoint, what we tried to do there in like the phase 2 was, and this is something that I liked about it, is it kind of forced us to figure out where we were exposed.
Right.
If you can always like take a step back and be like, well, we're small, we're young-ish as a company. Of course, we're not perfect. So when everybody gets beat up, we're going to get beat up too.
Right.
But it also forced us to be like, why did we lose so bad in this? Even if it wasn't entirely our fault. And I think the answer to that, which I hope we can get into in a little bit, was we just weren't diverse enough in terms of how we drive revenue. Like the reason we got smacked around so hard was like, sure, we got like different little things that we do here and there, different clients and industry, but the sole activity was going up to people,
engaging in a conversation,
talking them into some sort of idea, and then driving a sale right there. Which,
impulse sales,
which like spread across a couple different places, and some different tactic or clients or whatever. It's like, oh, you're diverse enough. Nope, not at all. So like our phase 2 was let's try to make money in different ways while we don't have anything to lose,
while maintaining our employee headcount. Which was
we put some people back to work, which is cool.
I mean, the fact that you even did that is more than a lot of people could do. So
it was either like
that as a win.
No, it was a huge win. It was a huge win. I'll comment on that when you're done.
Yeah, I have a lot of people talking about that. It didn't go perfectly.
Sure.
Like, we don't have Ferraris.
No, without a doubt.
We learned how to do new stuff.
If you made millions in the middle of a pandemic, I'd be like, what type of drug are you?
Yeah, right. Well, no.
No, it just made us like take a step back and try some stuff that we normally wouldn't try.
Right.
And we probably tried 3 or 4 different tactics. Most of them were a total bust, but we learned what we maybe can and can't do.
Like, give me an example. Like, I wasn't here for this.
I'll dive right into it, but feel free.
That's fine. Yeah. We tried like a digital marketing campaign, like digital advertising and digital sales, like selling stuff on the internet.
Okay.
For a wireless campaign. And we found out that we're not really experts in that. That's not our game. Yeah. Right.
That's good though.
Yeah, it was good to learn, but we did learn that it could be a source of revenue. We see potential in it, and we talk some clients into being cool with it that normally wouldn't be. So we can figure out how to like diversify or maybe outsource that type of activity, which we wouldn't even learn that without a little bit of trial and error.
Yeah, you learned like the ins and outs, and it was almost like, okay, this is the time to do it because literally
what else we also tried some telemarketing for an energy client in consumer. That didn't work. It did a little, nothing impressive, but we got a new client out of it. We built a lot of new relationships out of it.
Sure.
One thing we had in our favor was we were able to continue working for probably 3 weeks longer than anybody else was, because our retail project with Verizon and Walmart, that didn't stop until 3 weeks after everything else did.
That's good.
So for this little window, we got to kind of scream to the world, hey, we're still working.
Right.
Call us and we might be able to hook you up. Of course, it kind of crashed and burned in 3 weeks, but we probably formed like 4 or 5 new relationships out of it that we didn't have before.
And I'm going to take a step back because you said that a lot of the stuff didn't work out well. I think what we took from some of these failed experiments that we did was one, with what we're doing with the wireless campaign, for example, and we're using digital sales. So we're using like social media platforms, apps, things like that to advertise some of our clients' products. We exposed our guys and our teams to different possibilities. And it also showed how much they were able to adapt because they were actually productive enough
for a little bit.
That, I mean, we as a company didn't profit from the campaign, but we were still able to pay 20 agents to stay actively employed before the government came and started handing out free money to people.
Right.
But they were able to see that, okay, these guys are really solution oriented. They're down for whatever. They're willing to figure new things out. And they also got a chance to experience. And then there's 1 week where we actually crushed it. It was 1 week, but they've never done it before. I think we did like 60 accounts.
It's all a learning experience. You taught them something they wouldn't necessarily have gained otherwise.
And we all figured it out together. So that's why I mean, obviously we were hemorrhaging money as a company, paying people, but they were generating revenue in a new sales channel that we never had experience to before. And it showed that if they're put in a certain situation that our mid-level managers and upper-level management can keep their guys motivated and still do some sort of work.
Right.
I mean, literally, it was completely unnecessary when I used to dealing, but the guys didn't respond once they were pushed into a corner, which I felt was admirable. Like, it showed that that some of the things that we're teaching them on a day-to-day basis, which is like blame yourself versus the world for your problems, did happen. So I mean, we experimented with some things, some new things, but it did open our eyes that there's more possibilities out there. Right. Just like Lanny was saying, that this pandemic has actually opened our eyes to new sales channels that we're actually now actively exploring because now we've established partners that are good at doing stuff like digital marketing that want access to our clients, and now we're starting to like kind of. Vet people right now. We're going to possibly produce another revenue stream, which could really change the game for us because it'll make us like pandemic proof. If this ever happens again or anything like this remotely, we're not just relying on the old model to sustain us.
If you can learn how to adapt in the weirdest situation ever, and you make it through the other side, I mean, to be honest with you, literally knock on wood. I mean, you can make it through really anything.
Yeah, sure. No, without doubt. I mean, it shows resolve and diligence. So
yeah,
I think it's a characteristic that most people share. If you're wearing the company on your back, your own company on your back, you gotta figure it out.
Yeah, you have to.
And there's also a little bit of and there's some loyalty with our company too. I think a lot of us took some extra steps to kind of help the company out. I know I did for sure. I know Landon did. Like there are people that were working Catalina, not getting 100% of what they were, with their own. And I think a lot of people in the world can relate to that, especially like his hospitality industry. Like there are people they wanted to work but couldn't, but they were also like loyal to their team and their partners, whatever you want to call it, and were able to still
make it
still do shit. So I think that's huge. That's huge.
I think like for phase 2 with us was more of like an introspective look into our daily operations, because we were out there pounding pavement 4 days out of the week, and then we would Friday would come and we would be like sending out contracts or like following up with X, Y, and Z. So I mean, we did a lot as far as we moved all of our stuff over from Gmail to now we use Microsoft
Outlook.
Yes. So that was
process.
That was just so fun. It was a headache.
Did you lose a bunch of crap? Did you mess up?
No. Like we didn't lose anything. It was just Gmail. I don't know. I can speak for me and Eva actually too on this one, that we were just used to it. They're very user friendly, very mobile friendly as well. Yeah. So going from like converting all of our sheets to like Excels, and Excel is very detail. It's not even detail oriented, but there's just a lot that goes into that. Yeah. So it's not as basic. Yeah. So we also converted all of our lead lists to a CRM program. So now we have HubSpot.
So do I.
Yeah, we love it.
And we did it during the pandemic too.
Yeah. We were like, we have to do this.
Well, we dove into it. We got thick into it during the pandemic.
Why did we talk about this? Somebody could have made a referral fee off of the other one.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. And honestly, one of our partners that does the LEDs, he uses HubSpot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so great. And I mean, Eva found it. She was like, I found a CRM. It's free. Like, that was another phase, entering in every single client, every single.
Well, if you need any help, I feel like I'm an expert now.
Yeah, I know.
After the pandemic.
Now we are plugging away every day at HubSpot. Yeah. So, that was fantastic. I liked it though because it is mobile friendly, and that was something that we were.
Yeah.
Right, because where are you using this? You're using it mobily. Yeah. So it's way easier to log everything, other than like the way that we were doing it. It was just like on Google Sheets.
Nice stuff.
Yeah, we have like all of our lead statuses. We have like all of our filters. We have like different lists for different things. Yeah, trust me.
You use like revenue forecasting, like it's all.
Oh yeah. Actually, you can export, like to an Excel sheet, which we do. We use that for sales analysis. So
let me highly recommend a feature on here if you're not already using it.
What?
So Lana was talking about earlier how we were able to capture new relationships, during this pandemic. Then also try to co-sign it and say that we also rekindled some old relationships because people were in similar situations as us. But we had clients that were still allowing us to operate through the pandemic. Right. And so there's a feature on HubSpot that I used heavily because I was doing a lot of business development, where you can send out emails to all of your contacts, select contacts, whatever the case may be is. You obviously know if they opened it. HubSpot has that feature. Exactly.
Why are you opening this 17 times?
Yeah. Just be bing, 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 bing.
Yeah. I track all my emails. I'm such a creep.
Yeah.
See, when we were doing the hotel project spread, I was using it all the time. And then I turned it off because it pissed me off because a lot of people were just opening it and they're not acting. And then I started getting like pissed off. It's like false hope.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the feature I was talking about was not that. There's an online or an email feature which allows you to set up like a sequence email, which means once it hits you, if you don't respond to it in whatever amount of time that I set, another email is sent that I write saying, "Hey, just reminding you of X, Y, and Z."
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I can set as many sequences as I want with tactful follow-ups. Yeah. So it's like, let's say you send a contract out and someone's like, hasn't responded. You don't have to do shit anymore. This thing automatically will send it if they haven't replied to that email. Yeah. It's amazing. But by using that feature one time,
you get two.
I had 2 deals out of it that are, one is forecasted to potentially make us over the next year $1 million.
That's awesome.
In total revenue coming to the organization. And that was just I haven't talked to this person in a year or almost 2 years. This is like the possible Puerto Rico, New York thing.
That's awesome.
It's giving her an opportunity to get her guys back to work. get revenue come back into the company.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 2 other people say, hey, they corresponded, but I did nothing except write the template.
Yeah.
And use it. I'm telling you, it was great.
This episode of Square Up by Gray Square with Gray Square is brought to you by HubSpot, who didn't pay us a dime for this 20-minute promotion. I'm going to call my sales rep Dimitri and ask him for a free month.
Fast. Yeah. Giving out free shout outs.
So how about this next kind of question around table? What are you excited about right now in your business? Whether it's new, whether it's because of the pandemic, whether it's just something that
I'll start
came to fruition.
because I'm really excited about this. I've been trying to push this project through for a long time, and I'm actually kind of happy it's on my back right now. But as the world knows, if you don't know now, there was probably the largest telecommunication merger in history that happened when Sprint company was purchased by T-Mobile USA. Which means we went from doing Sprint business to business, and we started doing consumer sales to 100% of the T-Mobile model, which I've seen thus far. There's obviously been transition issues or transition problems.
About going to T-Mobile.
Don't worry, we'll talk about it soon. I got you. But with the transition, there's obviously transition pains. There's some different operational processes. But the one thing that T-Mobile has dramatically over anyone else, their customer service is phenomenal. And working for them from a client partnership standpoint, their back office support is awesome. And I think it's because they're a huge international presence. Like T-Mobile is gigantic in Europe. A lot of people don't realize that. Like if you're an international customer, you travel often.
Yeah, I
have T-Mobile.
that.
Oh, for sure. That's like the company in England.
Okay.
They have the best international plans out there by far. But anyway, this project is a project that no one else has anymore. 2 of our biggest competitors that used to own this contract, due to the merger with Sprint and T-Mobile, lost their contract. Sprint pretty much positioned themselves and their employees, and they said, hey, T-Mobile, if this merger does happen, what's going to happen to our employees? And T-Mobile said, we will make sure that all of your internal sales agents and sales partners or whatever stay on board.
Which is like more than
what most people do.
95%
exactly.
of.
But what did that mean for our
These
competitors?
lost their contract.
But the people that lost their contracts were our largest
They lost their
competitors.
contract.
Yeah, I was trying to pick his brain earlier.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was trying to
I'll
talk
just say it out loud.
Yeah.
I can write it on paper and show her, and not everybody can see
But
it.
basically, two of the biggest competitors in our space that had this contract no longer have it.
Yeah. Is that because of?
Yeah,
just circumstance.
Yes, Sprint came in and said, hey, T-Mobile, a part of our merger contract agreement with the case may be is that you're going to have to keep most of our sales force.
Okay.
Which T-Mobile no longer had a need for these guys.
Okay.
Sprint kept their internal, T-Mobile kept their external.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was way better said than I was.
Yeah.
I mean, vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa. Correct.
T-Mobile kept their internal, got rid of their external.
Sprint got their external.
And we were kind of grandfathered
We just happened to be
a part of the acquired client.
We didn't earn it.
No, we didn't earn anything.
We just fell in.
I mean, we've done some work with Sprint, but but
not more than
not more than those guys by far. But they lost everything. So we're in a capitalist society, and I'm in entrepreneurship. So yeah. So I'm extremely excited about the future with T-Mobile. T-Mobile's 5G footprint, which we've talked about on numerous podcasts before, is nationwide. They're the only carrier that has a 5G footprint that reaches every major city. And T-Mobile's also, this is kind of, that's not insider information because it's happening right now, but T-Mobile's launching their first internet service for consumers to compete with the big boys at homes, business, and stuff like that.
How are they going to do that?
It's all over 5G network. It's all wireless. So it's being piloted right now in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I know all about it. Where they actually have people on the street selling this product. And they literally, I think last week alone, close to 30,000 consumers have already purchased the product at a very, very competitive rate. They're operating right now. If you're not in a 5G area, you get their 4G LTE service to your home. But it's uncapped data.
Okay, so
if you turn your mobile hotspot on your phone, but it's actual device that can throw Wi-Fi through your entire home.
Right.
And even the 4G LTE speeds are anywhere between 50 to 100 megabits. If you're in a 5G network, you're talking about 300 to a gigabit connection on wireless. So what does that mean? The price is very competitive because obviously we work with other providers that offer these similar services. Price is very competitive. It's a product you can take with you anywhere.
Sure.
And it's just reaching rural America where none of these other big companies have any lines run to because there's not enough customers to service.
Right. Yeah. I didn't
So the
think about
growth
that,
expansion
like
is
out in Midwest.
Well, those flyover states, as they call them, you have everything from the flyover states. So you're flying from California to New York City. There's
Somewhere cool, somewhere else cool.
Basically.
Somewhere relevant,
Like
somewhere
everything, the
relevant.
Nebraskas, the Utahs, and all those stuff in the mountain regions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That opens up the whole market. But anyway, that's what I'm excited about. It's just the growth opportunity. I mean, we're still figuring everything out, but we're about to turn the engine on like full tilt. We had like a pilot team in Atlanta doing it, and they showed that it could be successful. They're not doing
And you're doing this consumer to consumer.
Correct. As it stands right now.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's another thing that I'm excited about too is the B2B aspect of what's coming here.
Right.
We've already executed a contract. It's not just a T-Mobile. It's something completely different. I'm sure he can talk about it if you'd like to talk about it, but it's this is going to be if we can execute it, it can really change everything outside of T-Mobile. But it's a different project though. But this is always the story with everything. If we can figure it out.
You guys have your hands in like so many buckets. I'm like,
no, it's just telecommunications strategy, pretty much.
I'll tell you what our strategy is for good, bad, or whatever. If we were a football team and we were the quarterback, or I was the quarterback, or whatever, we throw only Hail Marys. That's it. That may be good and a stupid idea.
Sure.
But like we have our base that can keep things afloat.
Yeah.
Anything that's not that is either the greatest thing ever or a total flop.
Yeah.
And for me, that's all I'm interested in.
but you guys have a safety net, so you can do that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't really matter.
Instead of like, well, we'd probably be better off like over the next 5 years or over like from year 2 to year, I guess what would be 2 years from now, of going like the slow and steady growth.
Right.
Everybody in the room will be in a better position if that's the path that we took. For sure.
Yeah.
But we're like, all right, things are cool. We can keep things afloat. Let's just launch it.
Right.
And just, if we launch it enough, I've seen highlight reels. They catch one every so often.
Exactly.
And it's baller.
Yeah. And it's always a baller catch.
Yeah, it's a baller catch. You need to watch it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. But see, he's right the way he's like positioning it. But like, I think with the current projects we have, it's never been, I don't think they're Hail Marys. I think what it is like, you got to get a certain level of commitment with the people involved in the project. And I think now we're in a space where we're starting to get more focused on our strengths as a company.
Right.
And putting people in strategic positions to actually deliver their strengths.
Right. Which is totally key.
Yeah, absolutely. So
hard to do sometimes.
It's very hard to do, especially if you don't have the right personnel and the right commitment. But we tackled something that me and Landon tackled something together that we've been trying to do for years. But now the company was in the position that we could do it, and the market's successful. We just expanded to upstate New York. We have a new location up there in Syracuse.
And that's the what campaign?
That's on Verizon. That's on Verizon. But we have a bunch of other people that want to do other projects because we have a relationship up there already. But we tackled it, and 2 weeks after launch, they're doing more on average than our local team is. I'm happy to say it because it makes, from the competition, makes growth, right?
For sure.
What about you guys? What are you excited about?
Yeah.
We actually...
You teased some like big thing.
Yeah, I want to know.
Tease?
Yeah,
you did. You teased some big thing.
We're talking about this shit locally.
You were like, here's what you said. You're like, we got the biggest shit ever that we've ever done. Let's talk about something different. I'm like, no. I need more.
So we actually have been heavily focused in the commercial property management companies. Smart, and it's just the next step. It's like where we want to be, but to be honest with you, we are really excited about our partnerships.
Can I ask you to clarify that? So you mean like so commercial property management companies, like malls and stuff like that?
I mean, like, okay, so there's a company that almost owns all of Northern Liberties, right?
Sure.
Okay.
I understand.
We're talking to them.
I understand. That's awesome.
So, we're pressing with them.
Yep.
And I mean, there's tons of these all over the place.
Cool.
Some of the big fish being like Simon, but
Yeah.
we slowly chip away at them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also chipping away at national brands too. So they're all on our lead list every single week.
Yeah.
It's just, I talk to this person, you talk to this person, and we'll see what happens. And, we just get at it.
Yeah.
But really it's more of like we've really strengthened our network a lot. So really looking at who we're talking to and, how we can help and benefit, each other. Yeah. So Macro Energy is one of our LED partners.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are also helping and aiding in, with COVID in supplying LEDs that have UV lights. So kills everything.
Sure.
They can speak better on that.
Yeah.
You don't have to know. You just have to like, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's safety measures, as well as lighting efficiencies. Yeah. We also partnered with the Walsh Group, which is pretty big in commercial real estate. And they do PoE lighting. So what they do is they actually hook up LED lights to Ethernet cables. So, you need those, you need wiring in your building anyway, and we might as well make it efficient and way more easily installed.
Right.
And I think it's like the third of the cost of actual just regular
traditional wiring. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So things like that. We also partnered with a charter school called the Glory Academy. They are located in your neighborhood. It's Port Richmond area.
Yeah, it's over on this side.
Yeah. Right, sure. Exactly. So, they're really cool because they actually provide paid internships for all of their students. Their students are in high school.
Okay.
And all of their students are actually backed by scholarships from business tax incentives from the local businesses.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
The school pays for the internships that these kids are going to at local businesses.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
It'd be something to look into.
Yeah, no. I'm catching what you're throwing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. That's awesome.
So
I wanted to ask you this as you were talking about it. So I think you guys are so much better at commercial selling than we are and probably will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
Has the past few months made your life more difficult or easier in terms of because you mentioned something that having to talk to multiple decision makers and work your way up some corporate ladder and blah, the commercial selling stuff. Mm-hmm. Has the past few months made that easier or way harder?
I mean, my pitch is the epitome of perfection.
That's a given. That's a given. That's a badass. That's a given.
In that respect, you're talking and you're saying it over and over and over again. Sure. And this is, you have to make yourself personable over the phone, which is even harder than it is in person anyway. So,
absolutely.
Or through an email. Yeah. And, and how you do that, we've realized, is just showing that we have the numbers, the statistics, the analytics to prove what I'm saying to you is true. And to just give us a shot.
Yeah.
And that's it. All I want is one shot. And 90% of the time we'll hit a home run.
Yeah.
So it has made it a lot. Actually, we had one of our highest sales months in May.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Bizarre.
That's awesome.
And half of it was new business, which is
awesome.
Even better.
Yeah.
Right. So, we have been doing really well in that standpoint, but it has made us so much better because we are actually really focusing on our actual market and market intelligence and market education.
Understand.
So,
sure.
Yeah, we're sitting there every day, looking at, the data and the numbers, and we sit with our pricing desk, Nick Jerome, and he is a commodity trader, and he just dumps his brain on the table, and you're like, what? Yeah. You know, he has to do a lot of backtracking, but I've learned, and you learn so much, and you start making those pricing decisions, and so we'll time it here. We'll do this type of product. There's so many products that you can do. People don't even know about it. So you have to tell them which one and why, but give them a choice of do this, X, Y, or Z. But you're going to do one of them.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But either way, we got to take care of this right now.
The good old two-option close, where neither option is no.
I actually said to a client, though, recently, I was like, you know what? I think the market's going to take a dip in 2 weeks. And it did. And I'm going to have to check my laptop. I'm pretty sure I sent him the contract right before I came.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, I want to wait, I think we can actually get you a little bit lower. Like, let's do it. I was like, if you're a betting man, he was like, let's wait. I'm like,
I like it.
Yeah.
Do you think that new business, is it like a very elementary level? Your business is a cost saving measure for other businesses, helping reduce expenses at a very elementary, like service.
Very elementary.
Very elementary. You're helping businesses save money through a million different things. Do you think you had a good May? In part because people are like, I wouldn't pay attention in the past because we're cool, everything's fine. I don't need to worry about little cost saving things I got to deal with compared to like, shit, I got to pay attention now.
Actually, I want to say no. Oil was trading in the negatives. Like they were actually like paying people to take oil to buy it. Like they were paying them to take it.
That's what that big thing with gas is going on for a while too.
Right. And now we're on this huge upswing and it's going to go up from here, people.
Lock in your rates.
Call Kristin right now.
Well, because it's true. And,
or call somebody.
Watching it. Right. Exactly. It took a dip recently. But a week before it was skyrocketed because you have blackouts on the West Coast and you have hurricanes in the Gulf and, all of this crazy shit is going on. And you're like, now gas storage going down, going up.
I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched this movie, like you're missing the boat.
What is it?
Have you seen the Enron story?
No, actually. I thought you were going to ask me if I watched There Will Be Blood.
Obviously, Enron is a bad thing. But what ended up happening with Enron was not good. But you will learn a lot. Because it's directly related to what he's doing.
Where is this called?
The smartest guys in the room. The two smartest guys in the room. So
really? Okay.
It is.
Where is this?
I want to sit down and watch it with you. I love watching it.
Is it Prime or?
So it was on Prime. It was on Amazon Prime.
Well,
I don't know.
What's it on now?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. We'll look it up. We have a computer here. But I love watching anything business related, obviously, especially anything that impacts your life. But this is the story of deregulation. This is the story
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Yeah, Amazon. Yeah. This is the story of commodity trading, how it's happening, and then what happened with them, who they made trillions of dollars, and then ended up doing all sorts of crazy shit.
Here's where I want to watch it with Kristin.
It's so good though. You're like, holy
this is a compliment. This is why, because there were conceptually any business person can figure it out. Yeah. But there was a lot of intricate commercial energy trading information that for a layman I was like, I don't understand this, but I can just do. Right. I want to pause and be like, what's that?
I'm able to rattle that off.
And I miss those. You're so much more engaged in that side of the business.
That's a long buy. It's a short buy.
Yeah, but they were out of pocket. I mean, I've watched so many times now because I'm always trying to just learn a little bit more.
We've watched it together at least 3 times.
Yeah, I forced you and Tim. I was like, sit the fuck down. We got to they actually made some money, but they messed up somewhere. Let's figure it out.
My favorite part about that movie is, of course, there was this big scam going on, all this stuff, this big ripoff. And, multiple people did jail time.
Extensive.
Obviously, right? That ran this thing around. Yeah. But there's this one guy, forget his name.
Martha Stewart. Did she do
She did insider trading, but I don't know.
It wasn't commodity. No, it wasn't. Yeah.
But there's this one guy in the movie where just as things were at their highest, right before it crashed, this one guy just like stopped showing up to work, and he just rolled out
with $200 million.
Yeah, like you know, telling figures like
he was just like no more.
Well, he orchestrated a lot of it, like as a behind the scenes guy, he like orchestrated all this nonsense, and then at the perfect time, he just disappeared and faded off on a yacht somewhere.
Did they find him?
No, he's gone.
He wasn't. No, they found him, but he didn't do anything that can be proven as illegal.
Oh,
because he got out at the right time.
Yeah, he's like, what do they call
couldn't
this?
prove it because he did his paperwork.
Like he fixes
he was the fixer.
Correct.
Yeah.
He was the fixer, but he was so good at it that everybody knew it was all him, but they didn't have anything on him.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those movies you'll be able to relate to just because you work in the industry. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes, but you are very above board and.
But to be exactly. You are. Yeah, you're good. Versus these guys are evil.
No, but
no, they got greedy. They got greedy, and they just started doing shit that was like not ethical at all. Like it was
right. But you know what? We see those people in the field all the time.
Exactly.
We have to combat it, and it's
it's a rebellion to the return. Exactly.
Especially in this area, I would come across the same sales rep.
Yeah.
Where she'd be selling the same contract with the same terms, and the markup would be so high.
She'd add so many mils to the deal, right?
Right.
That makes you look like I heard this before my bill went up.
But not even. It's like the rate was just
astronomical.
It was just stupid. I'm like,
well, yeah, and those are the people that destroyed the business. That's it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, how we always say to our clients, is like, we're here for a long time, not a good time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So that's what we say.
And that's why.
And that's what we do.
That was I like that. That was clean.
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal that. I like
I'm here for a long time. Good time.
That's it.
I'm pretty slick with my pitches too. I throw little things that people are like, oh, I saw what you did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But that was good. That was good.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
For your new at the bottom of your emails that you send out in HubSpot.
No, they're legit. They're real crafted emails, and that's actually I think a skill set that I'm not great at it, but I've realized because I did a lot of stuff with commercial energy, but we're doing some commercial telecommunications with hotel groups and hospitality companies that I had to get really good at crafting emails that would drive your attention. And I realized that it was...
All right, so, okay, here. What is your favorite email title?
Oh, wow. I used to have more than I do now.
Yeah.
So subject line? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like the title of the email. Yeah, you're right. Fine. Technically,
whatever.
Subject line, whatever. You know the semantics.
Shit.
I'm trying to think of ones that I actually open. Because I don't...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of too. You're talking ones that we've seen or the ones that we've made?
No, you're the ones
my go-to, that will get a response?
Yeah, ones that you need them to open. What do you...
So how do you bait them?
Yeah. As well, or...
Shit, the subject line?
Yeah.
Give me a second there. I'll drop something on there.
All right, so I will answer. I always say, nice to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. And I use their first name.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I've never met them.
Shit. Okay.
So then they're like, did I meet this girl? But then I'll say, I tried to come by and pre-COVID and blah, blah, blah. And
that's so
I've used, okay, so.
That's such a good one. I would sit there and think
you're like, wait, what does she look like?
I met her at something. I know it.
I know. And then they're going to click on my LinkedIn. And they're going to be like, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've used this
before. It's got a familiar face.
And I have gotten some positive feedback from this. Thought this is something you'd be interested in with ... next to it. It has gotten
from it. Okay. I mean, that could be a lot of things.
I know. But either way, they're opening the damn email, aren't they?
Right.
They're not deleting it.
Right.
And it says images attached, and you're like,
You're like, do I open it?
uh-oh.
But no, it has worked. That's funny. But this is something you might be interested in.
This has been awesome. So thanks for hanging out. If you want to catch Kristin, you can find her at, where can we find you, Kristin? Where can the people find your information? How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, that's a great question. So you can reach me at Kristin at etekenergy.com, and or you can look up my company page at www.etekenergy.com, and you can look us up on Instagram at etekenergy.
Easy enough. She is out here living. You can find her anywhere you'd like to. So that's it. Another episode of Square Up with Gray Square in the books. Thanks for hanging out. Later.
What?